Welcome, one and all, back to your favorite paranormal interview show, Paranormal the New Normal. I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, here trying to bring a little more normalcy to this world. Does it ever really happen? No, it normally doesn't. Tonight, slight possibility in the forecast, but we'll see how that goes. We'll see. I've been surprised before, but to help me do it as always, I bring a guest to the show to teach us something about their specialties in life, because we all have one, at least. And my guest tonight is Karina Cury, which a holistic life coach and an author, which, we love the life coaches on this show, so let's get this fun started. Karina, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Jeremy. Thank you. Thank you for having me at your show.
Oh, my pleasure. Completely my pleasure. Once I saw your profile, I'm like, okay, yeah, she'd be a good guest. I gotta grab her. So the first question I ask everybody in this show is, what brought you into the spiritual aspect of life? Like, what brought you down that road?
So my mother always was like a very spiritual person. She was like she delved into all kinds of different religions. A little bit of Santeria in Brazil, and she was a tarot card reader. So she, had her spirit guides who guided her through her readings, and she actually would help a lot of people. And when I was a kid, and I was completely embarrassed about it, and I was like, thought, oh God, can my mom just be a normal person and goes to church like everybody else? And but then as I grew older, um, I started looking into religion. I mean, I started seeing religion for what it really is. It's like a way to control the masses, and so I start delving into my own different spiritual beliefs, and I start delving into esoteric things and uh, energy, the cosmos, and all these good stuff. And then I just my mom and I became really close because then I wanted to have the knowledge she had, and understand. And to so the more you kind of go down the whole, the more you like want to know, and it becomes more and more interesting. So, but this all happened about 4 years ago, when I had gotten divorced, and I was got really depressed, and started seeing a psychiatrist. This is about 10 years ago, not 4 years ago. The spiritual search started 4 years ago, but about 10 years ago, I went down the path of becoming more and more plugged into the matrix through pharmaceutical drugs, because once you start taking those, you're completely a zombie. You're not connected to anything spiritual anymore. You're just surviving. You're not really living. But so I went down the path, and then about 4 years ago, I kind of had like an awakening. I met this holistic coach, and I wanted to get off medication because I learned all about plant medicine, and I wanted to try the plant medicine to have, a bigger connection with the divine, with, life source. So, I started seeing this life coach, and she started teaching me all about spirituality. And then that's when I became closer with my mom again, and started to wanting to my mom to teach about what she knew. So it was like really through a health crisis, I should say, that I became more and wanting to get out of there, and that's how I became awake. And
Nice. Which I was gonna say, that's an epic tale of spiritual awakening, because everybody has to have a tale somewhat similar to that, and the same. Always there's a downfall before a lot of us go to the spiritual side. It doesn't usually happen through just normal life. It doesn't just one day we don't just wake up and say, I want to try being spiritual today. No, it usually takes something to drive us there, some kind of excuse me, some kind of driving factor, and it's just, I mean. as sad as these stories have to be, it's also a triumphant good story in a way. So always glad to hear people come out of them. I really am. So since you've embraced the spiritual side, have you had any paranormal experiences yourself with this side, whether it be spirits, ghosts, extraterrestrials, what have you?
So I wouldn't say, like, of course, through my plant medicine ceremonies, yes, I had some, visions, and like I saw myself as I saw myself in past lives. I mean, I wouldn't say like I had a connection. I didn't see a ghost or aliens or anything, but I definitely uh, tap into the akashic records, seeing myself as past
Nice.
lives and things like that. But that is something that I'm working towards. Like I want to be more connected to my intuition and feel the present. I mean, like I feel the presence of entities. Like I get, for example, if I'm in a place where the energy is not right, I feel like a heaviness and I get goosebumps, and I know there's something there that is not, it's like not feeling good to me. So I feel the present in that way. So I would say I'm a clair, what is the word? So there's
Cl-
clairvoyant. I
Oh, an empath, basically, an empath.
Yes, like I feel the presence of things. And my daughter feels the presence of things. Now I went through a seer, and she told me, actually two people, two seers told me that there was a ghost in my house. And so I kind of felt like sometimes I would feel his presence, but I don't have this clear, like, oh, I can see him or I can speak to him. I feel the presence, but it's something that I'm working towards. But I think that what I used to feel a lot more when I was a kid, like especially when I was alone, I would feel presence of things, and I just would be scared. I didn't know what it was back then, but
Yeah,
I think towards because I was so long on antidepressants, and that kind of medication unplugs, plugs you into the matrix and kind of cuts that cord, so you're like not connected anymore. So I'm working towards that connection now. So I would like to develop this gift, I guess I could say, or everybody actually has that ability, right, to feel or see something. They just don't know. But I'm working towards to be more aware of what it is. But it's something that takes work. I actually read several books on how to become more in tune with my connection, and like learn to how to make the veil thinner, I should say.
exactly. Yeah. Which that's that's awesome that you're. I mean, because that's kind of similar to me. I am at the beginning of like a journey into being somewhat of an empath myself. I've noticed it for the last couple of years, and like it's. I've been working with different Reiki masters and mediums like that come on my show, like, and they all like give me little hints and stuff of trying like the right. It's how I think it's supposed to be my path. I'm supposed to get these little hints here and there, and then eventually I could figure the way out.
Yeah.
But it takes time apparently because I've been trying to do it for 2 years and it's taking forever. But patience, they all say have the patience.
Well, and I think that there is a plan out there, right, for all of us, and you kind of
Hmm.
also learning to trust the flow and to like trust that things are going to happen the way they're supposed to. But like when I, for example, I'm learning more and more that when something comes to me, an idea or an image of something, that is a form of clairvoyance, right? I'm getting information from somewhere. So for example, the book that I wrote, I really believe, like I went to a spiritual retreat down in Brazil, and there, after this amazing session, I had this moment where, because I always talk about writing a book, and this voice said, write the damn book. You've been talking about that book. So I took that as a connection. Okay, they're telling me it's time to write the book. So I'm learning to trust more and more on these things that come to me as connections, right? They're telling
Yeah,
me.
yeah, of course. I mean, but did I freeze?
No.
Oh, okay. No, I'm listening. I'm listening to everything you're saying. I'm just trying to get a little brighter in here so people can see my pretty face. But it makes it. I mean, I feel the same way about that. I mean, fate. I believe that everybody has a path they're supposed to take. I don't know if you. I mean, I think it's predetermined before we reincarnate into this current body we're in. Because I mean, we're all extraterrestrial spirits from some origin. We don't know, but it, I mean, I don't know if you. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you feel about life after death, and
Oh yeah.
don't want to poke and prod you too much on it if it's something you don't like talking about. Uh, but yeah, I mean that's my basic belief is that we all fall fate. We all fall fate a little further, and eventually we get the life we're supposed to have. It just may take several lives to get there, you know?
Well, and I think our soul is on a journey, right? A journey of learning. Where our soul is learning, so it's experiencing this human body, and I believe that my beliefs are that we came in here because we decided our soul needed to experience, this human experience and to learn something, and it's all about the learning experience of the soul. So whatever, and that's what my holistic guide, she always talks about, because when I start the spiritual journey, I always like, I'm a very compassionate person. And I would say, oh, I feel so bad for the person. I feel so sorry. And she would go, no, don't feel sorry for anybody. Because when you feel sorry for somebody, it means you think you're above them, and you're not. They're in here to experience whatever they're experiencing because they chose to. That is what their soul chose. Whatever they feel like they needed to experience is what they're experiencing. So everything that people are experiencing in this world, even though it seems so horrible sometimes to us, is what that soul chose to experience. So yes, we can have compassion, but we should never like feel sorry for people because we're not above them. And to me, like in the beginning, it was like, oh, that sounds so harsh though, because, but as more I got it deep into it, it's true. It's like we are here, and I had some really hard things happen to me, but now I the one thing that I never did, well, maybe for a period of time there, I felt sorry for myself. I was in the victim mode. But now I understand that all these things made me the person I am today, right? So
Exactly.
I understand that thought concept now.
Yeah, I mean it's weird. I never thought about that in this way before, but I mean, it's always like if I didn't feel sorry for somebody, I'm always like I'm the asshole because I don't feel sorry for them.
Yes.
But I mean, but to be the asshole because we feel sorry for them, that's a whole new way of looking at it, I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess it logically does make sense. Like if you feel sorry for someone, it's because you think you're above them and that you can feel sorry for them. When it's not your place to feel sorry for anybody. It's just you're right. It's what they're supposed to be going through, as horrible as it may be in this world, which because this world can take it pretty low. But I mean, how are
Because
you supposed to see the homeless? How are you
yeah.
supposed to see the homeless guy begging for change and not feel sorry for him to some degree?
Yes, I know exactly, and that's my whole thing. I'm like, you just see a homeless person, but maybe that person was a Scrooge in the other life, and he needed to experience not having anything. You know what I mean? And that was his soul journey to go through this life. Who knows? Why he chose that, but all I know is that when we look in eternity, because our soul is eternal, this
Yep,
life is just very short, right? It's like it's just the I think that when we pass on to our next mission or purpose, whatever you want to call, we're just going to look at that. Yeah, yeah, we did it. Just like when you go through a hard experience, you go, okay, it was like giving birth, for example, for me. It was very painful and hard. But then once I did it, I was like, okay, yeah, I can probably do it again. So I think that's what the soul probably will look at. Is like, yeah, I did it. I mean, it's I learned. I mean, it was an experience.
I mean, yeah, that's all life is experience after experience, hopefully learning new things along the way, yeah, or learning what we're supposed to learn in that life at least, or sometimes some lives I don't think we're supposed to learn anything though. Some lives I think we're just kind of chilling and we're just like, all right, this is my vacation life. I'm just gonna enjoy this one, and we'll learn something in the next one. Right.
Exactly.
So let's go. Since this is what you wrote a book on, let's go into the holistic health element of it all a little bit more. So I had actually just had someone on about a month ago talking about microdosing and that type of medicine, but holistic is a little bit different than that. I mean, it's part of that, but that's part. I should say microdosing is part of holistic medicine, but it's not the whole thing. It's a very small part of it. Besides that, like, what are some of the other misconceptions that people have about holistic medicine?
Well, holistic means whole, right? Then it's like the word holistic means whole, so it's like body, mind, and spirit connection. So that's why I call holistic coaching, because it's not just your health; it's like mind, body, and soul. So the body part of the holistic, yes, it's like, for example, I was on antidepressants and alcohol. So what was I doing? I was numbing my feelings, right? I was numbing the pain that I was feeling for all these things that happened to me. Because we all go to traumatic situation. I feel like every single one of us have PTSD because we were born, we had parents who had their own beliefs and raised us the best they could, the way they could, but they were not, they were a product of their parents. So they're teaching us what they know, and we go through school, which is another way to brainwash kids. We go to church. I mean, all these things that they're trying to keep us plugged into the matrix that are not ideal. They're just trying to brainwash us. So they're all have some kind of trauma, because our soul, even though we don't remember, some of us don't remember, our soul is not supposed to live like that, right? So our body is going through experiences that our soul is not what it is, just here to experience. So we're learning those things that are not really agree with our soul, so it's causing trauma to our body, and then our body starts getting sick, because sickness, all it is trauma, and it when we don't deal with it, it becomes sickness, like cancer, or any major diseases like that. I really do believe that those diseases are just caused by the emotional part of not healing traumatic situations. So we push it away so long, and then it comes out in our body. So I was medicating myself because I was trying to numb those feelings. So I called those crutches. So alcohol, marijuana, this is what I believe, and prescription drugs are just crutches to numb the feelings. So you're not really healing the trauma, you're just bypassing, right?
Hmm.
So that's what I talk about in my book a lot. It's about, you have to feel to heal. Okay, so you have to face those issues, you have to look at it, and you have to find ways to come to terms with it, so they don't become physical diseases to your body. And then the mind also, it doesn't affect your mind where you don't become depressed or anxious or all those things. So that's why I call holistic mind, body, and soul. So so then you heal, you try to heal your mind, and also everything that you put in your body, it's super important. So the food that you eat, right? Like I don't eat meat anymore, I don't drink alcohol, I try to eat more, I mean, pretty much a vegan diet, because really our body was not meant to eat this much meat. I still eat chicken because I crave that every now and then, but and fish. But so I try to be very mindful of what I put in my body, right? And now our food is so full of heavy metals and poison, everything's like we're eating and putting in our bodies is not good anymore. So of course you have to take supplements and all those things, but taking care of everything and not relying on things to numb those feelings. Because so when I like to this analogy of, so if you have a banana, right, and you put in a purse and you close the purse, 20 days, so like 2 months from now, the purse on the outside looks good, still looks the same. But if you open that purse and that banana grew a life of its own, right? It's putrid. And
Yeah,
so that's what it is with traumas that we are not working to heal. It just grows a life of its own inside of us, right? And that's how it affects our body and our mind. So we can't continue to bypass those things. And taking medication, it's like if you put your hand on the fire and you're taking a medication that makes you not feel the fire, still your hand's still getting burned, you're just not feeling it, right? And
exactly. Yeah,
that's what medication does to you. You still hurting, it's still hurting, but you're just not feeling the pain. But eventually, when you stop taking this medication, then it all comes out to the surface. Or if you take it for your whole life, you just become a zombie, you know?
I
So
agree. I agree 100%. I mean, okay, well, I don't agree with every aspect of that, but we'll get to that in a second. Hey, Brian, thanks for watching and coming to check us out. Founder of the Parapost Network there, folks. Parapost Network, good place for all podcasts and podcasts. But yeah, I mean, okay, well, here's the only thing I have that. I mean, I eat every kind of meat because I am a man, and I think it's what I'm supposed to do. But I mean, I don't have anything against people that don't. That's their choice. I can't say no to steak. Sorry, but
no,
I
believe
mean,
me, I crave. I mean, like every now and then, I crave a steak myself, but it's not that I'm saying it's bad for you. Like, listen. Also, I believe that when you are in tune with your body, you're able to whatever your body craves is what your body needs, right? So if you crave meat, that's what your body needs. You do what's best for you. And like part of my philosophy too, it's like, do whatever feels good to you. But I'm here, I'll present you with the science behind, okay, like too much meat, too much of a good thing is that a bad thing, right? So
of course.
everything in moderation is good. I mean, if, I know vegan people that are not the healthiest, so
Hmm.
maybe that is, they need protein, they need stuff like that. But it's like everybody has a choice and they can do whatever they want. I chose not to eat meat because also I believe that we're having problems with our environment that
Yeah. I mean, when you get a package of beef at the store and you don't know if it's from a real cow or if it's something made in a lab, yeah, that's a whole moral issue right there that uh, this isn't the place for it, but I'd love to debate it somewhere that actually it'd be heard. This is not the show for it. And Brian says I find medication is nothing but a band-aid, but long term effects are the problem, and that's
yes.
I'm 100%. I mean, though I see I feel the opposite way about marijuana though. I think marijuana opens you up to the spiritual side more than anything in this world.
Did you ever try mushrooms?
No, I can't say I haven't. Trust me, after talking to my microdosing expert a couple weeks ago, it's something that's I wouldn't mind trying someday in the future. But
Yeah, I think that once you try ayahuasca and mushrooms, I think you'll change your mind.
I mean, possibly. It's I'm not quite sure. I mean, I don't know. I'd have
No,
to try
listen,
it.
no, I think marijuana, don't take me wrong. I think marijuana is a wonderful medicine. It's good for so many things. But also, I think that also people can use as a crutch. I'm not saying don't use marijuana. If that's good for you, like I said, with everything that I believe in, each do what it feels good to you. I think marijuana is a wonderful plant medicine that can help a lot of people. I just think that it can be like sometimes overused to numb feelings, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying with that, and it can be 100%. I mean, especially, I mean, it's great. It's great for pain management. It's great for. I don't. I personally don't use it for emotional issues and I or mental issues, and I can't really speak to how that works for most people because I'm not one of them.
Mhm.
But I think that that is the area where it can get overused because if you're just using it to numb your emotions or numb a constant issue with mental health, then you're gonna eventually you're not gonna work it out. You're never gonna figure out what's really the root cause of this. You're never gonna go past that. You're always just gonna be stuck on, oh, I have this issue. It's never gonna
Yes.
get to the next step of, okay, here's the fix to this issue I need to do. Like
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, yes, if you
You
have chronic,
you
sorry,
kind of
what was that?
I think that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I mean, I think
Oh,
that
good.
marijuana, like alcohol or prescription medication, can help bypass those feelings, you know, where the mushroom or psychedelics or ayahuasca, it's more like it makes you face those, and it's not like it's not a fun journey. You know, it can be very painful, but it also can be very it's not can be it's very healing because whatever you purge a lot of those traumas and so it's like it's just it's hard, but it's like after you're done and you feel like ayahuasca is kind of like a marathon, right? I mean, uh
Yeah,
like
that's why I've heard that.
yeah, so after you're done and you're like okay, and then I'm not saying that you do once and you feel like oh I'm healed, no, because I like to say to people the healing journey, it's a lifetime.
Hmm.
It never like happens, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna do ayahuasca, I'm gonna be healed. And that's not how it works. It's something because ayahuasca is just gonna help you see some things that you need to work on or whoever, you know, it can be like different for everybody. Some people have a really happy journey. So I'm like, I've done it 4 times, and for me, every time I get better because I purge a lot of my trauma. But sometimes, you know, like I see things that I really need to work on, I need to focus on, you know.
Exactly, and I mean, it basically lines up with everything I've ever been told about it. And Brian has a good point though. He said and I've seen this before too, I believe, but he says he read a study that supplements and vitamins your body can only consume up to 9 to 12% of these vitamins and supplements, but your food your body consumes 90% of.
Hmm.
Which I've heard those numbers before as well, and I mean, it does makes. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but then why are we taking these vitamins and supplements if we're only consuming that little bit? What's the rest of it? Just junk for our body?
Well, and that's why you have to be aware of what kind of supplements you're taking, you know, and also what food you're consuming, because the foods that we take are like grown and everything is grown differently that was grown years ago, right? So that's what I was telling you. There are everything. A lot of things have pesticides now, and then they're grown very rapidly, so they don't have as many nutrients. And the nutrients come from the ground, the growing from the ground, and the kind of ground is growing in and stuff like that. So sometimes they don't have the nutrients that they're supposed to have. So that's why supplements help. Um, you know, but it's like I think that like for example, my body type, like I get tested for vitamins every now and then because I just wanted to see if I'm like I have enough vitamin D, and I'm always like low in vitamin D, and I eat things that are supposed to help, you know, with vitamin D and stuff like that. So I'm always having to take the supplements. But they're, you know, like for some reason it's not enough what I'm taking. So I have to supplement with vitamins, but I think finding the quality, because you know you can buy vitamin D from $5 on Amazon to $100, whatever, you know, but it's like we're in a capitalistic system, right? Where everybody's there to make money, and those supplements are not as regulated. Nothing, I guess, is regulated as used is supposed to be because we have 6 billion people on the planet, and to keep
Uh,
up with everything is very difficult. So
hmm.
anyway, but
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's it's getting harder and harder to control what goes on in this world. And plus, all the backroom deals and all the bribing of investigators and all that fun stuff.
Yes.
But and Brian answered my question. Unfortunately, we're flushing the rest of it down the toilet because it turns to water. Which, yeah, I mean that is what happens. So that's why I don't take any supplements or vitamins because I don't see a point. My numbers are always good, so I don't need to take anything. But someday, maybe. But
Oh, hopefully you won't need to. Hopefully just keep eating what you're eating and it's working for you, you know?
I mean, my diet's horrible, so that's amazing. That's true. But I mean,
Well, but if it's
I
working for you, maybe I need to have like your diet.
well, let's see. Tonight consists of French fries, mushroom pizza, and cheese curds fried cheese curds. So yeah, I mean, if that's working for me, then hell, I'm happy. but
Good for you, Jeremy.
but so if people, let's say people let's go back to the mental illnesses part of this a little bit more. What if people are anxious, have anxiety, or they're depressed and have a really bad depression? But I mean, medication does help at first a little bit, but what do you think is the better alternative to medication than that? I mean, because I know it's a long road, but like, how do they get to started on this road?
So I believe, like all the researches about microdosing on psilocybin are very promising. Of course, big pharma, I feel like big pharma is never going to improve, right? Because actually it's proven now that it can cure depression, PTSD, um, anxiety, all that stuff. And the medication that big pharma sells to us, they want you to stay on the rest of your life, and you just mask the symptoms, right? Like your guy said, is just a band-aid, which it is. So they want them to stay for the rest of their life. That's how they're going to make money, right? But I
Exactly.
have a holistic approach to microdosing on psychedelics, not by yourself, right? You have to get help. I mean, you have to go to somewhere where you can do in a controlled environment. But meditation, uh, therapy, or coaching, there's all kinds of things you can do. Journaling. Uh, I mean, there's a whole protocol, like a whole system and guidance that I give to my clients of how to not get into the crutches of prescription drugs, or to help them get off of medication if they're on. So
I
that's what.
mean, those all sound like very viable alternatives to medication, which, and I mean, I think personally, marijuana throw in there because marijuana does help those things, anxiety and depression a little more than medication does in my mind. Because
Mhm,
sometimes it opens your, I mean, in my mind, well, I keep saying that. In my head, it opens your mind more. Like that's what it does.
mhm,
It expands your brain to points that we don't always use, which I'm
mhm.
sure ayahuasca and mushrooms do the same thing. Probably a lot more explosive level than that, but it's still
Yes.
sometimes you just need that little push. Like that's all you need is that little push, and you're free. Like it's free. And Brian, I swear to God, you're gonna get me in trouble, Brian. But yeah, Brian says get your vitamin D from being outside, which he's right, the sun. And but Brian, when I read that the first time, I was like, I don't want to get arrested. Because I totally took that the wrong way, Brian. My bad, buddy. But yeah, I mean that's the sun. Like vitamin D comes from the sun, so that makes sense. But
I think, yeah, what the study said, to get 20 minutes every day at 10 a.m., I think is the best time to get it, because you're not, 10 a.m. is the best time to get the sun. But, there's people that live in places where the sun is not out for like, but
mm,
3 months out of the year, or people that work, you know, night,
hmm
they sleep during the day. I mean, there's all kinds. I mean, like, we have a huge problem. I mean, 90% of people in the world are, I think they say, or maybe United States, are vitamin D deficient, because everything that people use sunblocks that keep you from getting the benefits of the sun. So there's all kinds of things, and maybe that is a plot from the pharmaceutical companies too, to keep us from getting vitamin D, so we can spend all this money on vitamin D. Oh, here, use sunblock, is but good for your skin, but then it keeps from us from having vitamin D, right? See, there you go. You can go down the rabbit hole and just your head would go woo.
Oh, trust me, we're conspiracy theory experts in this show, and anything can be turned into a conspiracy theory. And Big Pharma already has a lot of conspiracy theories tied with them. So another one, yeah, why not? It's Big Pharma. I'll throw anything at it I can because Big Pharma's right there with religion. So yeah,
Yeah, well, the 13 big pharmaceutical company, it's what, the 12, 13 big companies that, or big industries that control the world, right? The food industry being one of them. That's why sometimes I find it, maybe that's a plot too, that we don't get the full nutrients that the food's supposed to get to give to us, because the food they're feeding us is not that good anymore. We're growing everything so rapidly, and I don't know. I don't have all the answers. What I do know is that I plead with people not to go down the path of medication. I know there are some serious issues like bipolar, who are very hard to medicate and things like that. I'm not saying to people don't do it. I mean, it's, what's best for you, right? You need to decide.
exactly,
Yeah, you need to decide what's best for you. But if you feel like medication, you don't want to get in down that path, there is other solutions. There is things that actually can help you heal depression. But also you have to be brave. You have to be um, willing to face your traumas, right? Whatever, because I think sometimes people, and I was used to be like that. I used to be ashamed of some of the things that I did or I went through. I didn't want to think about it. I mean, it was too hard. I didn't want to. So it just kept like I said, becoming putrid inside of me. And then that's when I became really depressed. And I know the feeling of depression, of feeling hopelessness, of not wanting to get out of bed. It's horrible. I never want to go through that again. So I wanted to do whatever it took to heal from that. And so now I'm this journey, but it's not a journey that happens overnight. You have to work at it. You have to continue to do it. Sometimes, like I wake up and I know what I need to do. I know I can go sit outside in the sun and meditate is going to make me feel better, but I'm so like I just this feelings of depression take over you, and you just don't want to do anything. You just want to lay in bed, and it's just like taking a hold of yourself and going, no, I'm not going to allow this to control my life. And I know what makes me feel better, so I'm going to do it, right?
exactly. I mean, I I went through a similar thing about God, 8 years ago now. Jesus. Um, yeah, and back in 2015, like it was such a bad depression. I moved states because that's how bad the freaking depression was. Like I needed to change of scenery completely. Like that's the only thing in my mind that was gonna fix it. Plus, it was the middle of winter around this time, so it was like, yeah, it was already depressing enough. But and like it worked. It took a couple years after I moved, but it worked eventually. It just needed to be around other people.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, just to be around more, just to be around family more often than just to like go home to be by yourself or with your one drunk roommate like every night is not like a life that it's going to help depression. So I completely understand it. I mean, there probably was better ways I could have broke out of it, but it just and stayed where I was, but it just didn't happen at that point. Wasn't educated enough in this area at 25 or whatever the hell I was. So 20, actually like 28, I think, but still. I mean, it makes sense. And and it's funny because like Big Pharma, talking about Big Pharma, like the conspiracy that behind like microdosing is the same conspiracy that was behind marijuana for a long time at Big Pharma. That's why marijuana was made to look like a devil for 70 years because people didn't want to admit that it actually helps people. They didn't want to admit that it actually has benefits that it could possibly cure cancer. I'm not saying that's a fact yet, folks, but it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
We don't know we've heard rumors of it, but we don't know everything it could do yet. So I
Well,
don't
look
know.
at the propaganda that the government did in the 60s and 70s, right, about marijuana and psychedelics. They
Hmm.
create this image, oh, like, and this, so that generation, right, the boomers, they all this have this idea of like, oh, people that use drugs are bad people, they're lazy, they're this and that, not knowing that they're not even drugs. They are plant medicine. Okay. So you don't
Yep.
understand what drugs are. Drugs are the opioids that you're giving people with pain and getting them hooked to it, hooking into it. And those are dangerous drugs, not these. Because I tell people, oh, if I tell them that I did ayahuasca or I microdose on psychedelics to get off medication, oh, those are drugs. No. And it's not like, it's like I said, it's not a fun thing. It's not like, oh my gosh, I love it. No, it's not something you love it. It's hard. It's work, you need to face your demons basically. It makes you face your demons and it's not something pleasant. And just but it I am here today. If you saw me 10 years ago, I'm here today. I cannot tell you how many times I just wanted I would think, okay, if I just die, it would be better for everybody, you know?
Hmm.
And now I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm not gonna say I don't have bad days. I do, like I told you. Like I sometimes, you go through things or like you get these vibrations or this energy and it brings you down. And I know that going outside, meditating, and getting some sunshine, and movement in my body, listening to high frequency music, I know what to do. But sometimes it's just like it's work. So yeah, it's you have to work at it.
And yeah, I mean, we've got a comment. Harley says she feels that way all the time, and I mean, a lot of people do. It's just you get in these dark places, these shells, and you can't break out of them. It's like they're unbreakable. And
Hmm.
I mean, there definitely were times in my life where I said to myself, like, I'd be better off, everybody would be better off if I was gone.
Hmm.
But then I also thought to myself, but everybody would also be happy if I was gone, so I'm not going to be going anywhere because screw them. But
Yes.
I mean, that my sarcastic assholeness always pushed me out of any funk like that because it's always like, wait a minute, they want me to go. No, I will not go. Not quietly into that good night, sir. But so I mean, that's just I've always had my defense mechanism of being a sarcastic asshole. But I mean, it works. It worked for me my whole life. So, if it works, stick with it. But other people are not so lucky as me to be able to just quickly push away those thoughts. I see it every day on social media. Somebody killing themselves or making themselves overdose just because they can't handle life anymore. And I mean, I don't blame them for not being able to handle life because life these days is freaking horrible. I mean, you can't even afford a good dinner anymore because the food that they're ridiculously charging us for isn't even good. Like you said, it's not even good food anymore. So,
Hmm.
and they're ridiculously charging, like a steak is like 40, $50 now in store. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, be better off going kidnapping a cow.
So to the people that are listening, like, what was the lady that said I feel like that all the time? I want you to know that Harley, you don't have to feel like that. And if you need help, just know that I'm here for you. And I do that. I have a business, but I also do a lot of pro bono work. And I always welcome people. And to if you need help, I can show you. I can guide you through everything that I went through in my life to feel better today. And so please don't think that you have to feel this way. Please, seek help. There's ways to get out of this. And if you need any help, like I said, book a call with me. I am here for you. I work pro bono as well. www.karina.life, Karina.life. So book a call with me, and I'll gladly talk to you and guide you through what worked for me to make me be in this stage of my life. And I'm not saying my life is perfect. I still have to work for a living. I still have to go through days where I have a hard time, but now I know how to get out of that. Okay. And I can teach you how to do it. And so please don't feel like you have to feel like that all the time. I know life is full of ups and downs, and we go through things, heartaches and uh, lack of money, lack of friendships,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, but it sometimes we just got to have a different perspective on things, and in any way that I can help, I'm here for anybody that's seeking help.
And there you go, folks. That's a beautiful sentiment right there. And I thank my guests for putting that out there for all the listeners and future watchers. And I mean, yeah, things these days are hard. They really are. I mean, especially money, because the dollar's not worth a damn thing nowadays.
Hmm.
But what can what should people be doing if it's their family or their friends that are going through this and they're say like the way that you were able to have your mother to go to when you started doing the spiritual life, the holistic life? What should people do if they don't have friends or family that like understand it, that they just question and criticize it all the time?
There's a lot of light workers out there, lots and lots. All you have to do is seek. I mean, you will find it. Lots of Facebook groups, lots of people like me who do holistic coaching. Um, there's tons of people, so you just got to start looking, and things are kind of start falling into place, right? That's how it started with me. Yes, my mom was a big help, also my holistic coach who's my guru. And then you kind of just like they start pointing you out to things, and then when you're in that energy you kind of resonate with people and they're in the same vibration, so people just kind of start showing up into your life. It just happens that way, right? So just seek help. If you don't have a family member or friend, just start seeking for people who mostly what, like, I think that the reason why I can hold space for my clients now is because I went through that myself, so I know what it's like. It's like kind of like being a therapist who teaches people how to parent children, but they never been a parent. You have to be a parent to understand. So I've been there, so I understand. So start seeking help in whatever way it's financially visible for you, because I know that there's a lot of people in my area, light workers and holistic coaches, who work pro bono because we want to help people. And that's my goal. I feel my best when I'm serving. So just start seeking and you will find it. It will come to you.
There you go, folks. I mean, that's more great insight. More great insight. That's all I can say. And I hope that if you do listen to Karina's advice on this, because it's very true. And I mean, if you're looking for light workers of any kind, I mean, look at the past episodes of my show if you want. There's plenty of different light workers in there in different fields that might be able to help you depending on what you're looking for. So it's literally a lot of connections in those descriptions there, and a lot of websites to go check out. So that's all you gotta do.
Mhm.
So, Karina, I want to thank you for coming on. It's been an amazing conversation. Uh, where can people find you? Please promote yourself to the fullest, where they can find you, where they can find your book, and everything.
So my book is on Amazon, Awakening, a journey from medication to meditation. Also, if you cannot buy my book, reach out to me and my Instagram account, Karina Cury, uh, on IG, and Karina Cury, Karina Cury on IG. I'll send you a copy. If also reach out to me and Karina Cury on my IG account, or Karina www.karina.life, Karina.life, and book a call with me, or just send me a message and I can mail you my book, or we can set up a free consultation. And like I said, if you are going through hard times, I will help you pro bono, because I I want everybody to feel the way I feel. That's why I got in this journey. That's why I wrote this book, to empower people and to help people find the light. And that's what I'm here for.
Well, there you go, folks. Go check it out. All those links will be in the description as well, of course. And you all know where you can find me. If you don't, shame at this point. It's just shame. But check the outro. You'll hear it again. And I want to thank my guest Karina for coming on. It's been one last time. It's been a pleasure for having you on. It was a great conversation. I can't wait for people to hear this. It's gonna hopefully open some eyes. But until next time, listeners, I believe I will be back next week with some more interviews for you. So you gotta wait a little while. Sorry, been busy with other stuff. But I'll be back soon, and have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, Jeremy.